Hey everyone, welcome back. Sometimes I think about how cool it is that we can talk about stuff that, well, hasn't even happened yet.
Yeah, like the future.
Right,
Right.
the future. And it's actually one of the trickier things to learn in any language.
Definitely. Definitely. Lots of different ways to talk about it.
Exactly. So that's what we're going to be looking at today, different ways to express the future in English.
But don't worry, we're going to make it super easy and fun.
Yep, we're going to use lots of examples that, even if you're just starting out with English, you can totally understand.
Exactly. Got to keep it clear and simple.
Okay. So let's jump right in. Probably one of the first words you ever learned when you started learning English was like will.
Oh, yeah. Will for the future. Super basic, but so useful.
Right. Like if I think it's going to rain later, I'd say I think it will rain later.
Perfect example. And what's cool about will is that native speakers use it for tons of stuff, not just predictions.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, think about it. If you want to offer someone help right now, you'd probably say, I will help you with that.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Or like, I will call you later. It's like you're making a promise right there.
Exactly. So will is kind of like showing your willingness to do something, not just about what might happen in the future.
Hmm. Interesting. So there's like a subtle difference there.
Yeah.
Okay, now what about going to? That's another one that you hear all the time.
Oh, yeah. Going to. That one's all about intention. Like you've already decided to do something or you see evidence that something's about to happen.
Right. So if I was like packing my suitcase, you could say, oh, you're going to go on a trip.
Exactly. Or like if we see someone about to trip, you might say, oh, no, he's going to fall. Because it just seems obvious from this situation.
Gotcha. So it's kind of like based on what you're seeing or already planning. Now, I always get a little confused about when to use will versus going to. Like, if I've already decided to go to a concert next week, would I say I will go to the concert or I am going to the concert?
That's a good question. Technically, both are correct. But I am going to the concert kind of emphasizes that you've made a plan, you're looking forward to it, it's definitely happening. Whereas I will go to the concert is just stating a future fact without that extra emphasis on your intention. But honestly, most people wouldn't even notice the difference in everyday conversation.
Okay, so it's more about like the feeling you want to convey.
Exactly. Sometimes the difference is really subtle, more about nuance than strict grammar rules. And that's actually part of what makes English so interesting, right?
Right. It can be kind of tricky, but also keeps things flexible. So we've talked about will, we've talked about going to, but there's some other future tenses, right?
Oh, yeah. There's a whole bunch. We've got the continuous tenses, the perfect tenses, even ways to talk about the future and the past.
Wow. Sounds complicated.
Don't worry, we'll break it down. So let's start with the future continuous. It might sound intimidating, but it's really just about talking about an action that will be in progress at a specific time in the future.
Okay. So like what's an example of that?
Let's say it's a beautiful Saturday afternoon and you're thinking about what you'll be doing. You could say, this time next Saturday, I will be relaxing in the park. See? It paints a nice little picture.
Yeah, I get it. Like you're focusing on that moment in the future and what you'll be doing right then. And grammatically, it's just will be plus the ing form of the verb, right?
That's it. We'll be reading, we'll be cooking, we'll be learning English. You got it.
Cool, cool. Okay, so future continuous. Got it. But then there's also the present continuous, right? And sometimes that can be used to talk about the future too, which always throws me off a little.
You're right, that can be confusing. But think about it. When you use the present continuous to talk about the future, it's usually for fixed plans or arrangements. Like, I am meeting my friend for lunch tomorrow. It's not just that you'll be having lunch, it's that you have a set plan in place.
Ah, I see. So it's less about the action itself and more about the commitment or arrangement you've made.
Exactly. It makes it sound more definite, like it's already on your schedule.
Right.
And it's super common for things like appointments, meetings, travel plans, anything that's already decided.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So we've got will, going to, future continuous, and even the present continuous sneaking in there. But I know there are like two more big ones we haven't talked about yet.
Yep, you're right. We still have the future perfect and the future perfect continuous. Those are the ones that tend to trip people up.
Definitely. They sound super intimidating. Like future perfect. What even is that?
I know, the names are a bit scary, but they're not that bad once you break them down. So the future perfect is basically a way of looking back from a point in the future. Like, imagine you're working on a project and you know you'll finish it by next Friday. You could say, by next Friday, I will have finished this project.
So it's like you're standing in the future looking back at something you've already accomplished.
Exactly. And grammatically, it's will have plus the past participle of the verb. So will have finished, will have eaten, will have learned all the English tenses.
Okay, that's actually not as bad as I thought.
Mm.
So future perfect, we got that one. Now, what about the future perfect continuous?
Okay, last one, I promise. This one's similar to the future perfect, but it emphasizes the duration of an action leading up to a specific point in the future.
So like how long something has been going on.
Right. For example, imagine you're thinking about your career and how long you'll have been working by the time you retire. You could say, by the time I retire, I will have been working for 30 years. It really highlights how long that action has been continuing.
Oh, I see. So it's not just that you'll be retired, it's that you'll have been working for all those years leading up to retirement.
Exactly. And the structure is will have been plus the nearing form of the verb. So will have been working, will have been living, will have been speaking English fluently, all those awesome things.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it. So we've really gone through a lot today, haven't we? Like from the basics of will and going all the way to these like super future perfect continuous tenses.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground. But the amazing thing is, even if some of these tenses seem complicated at first, the more you practice and hear them in real conversations, the more natural they'll become.
That's true. It's all about getting used to the different ways English expresses time. And speaking of practice, I think everyone listening should try using some of these tenses in their own conversations. Just give it a shot.
Yeah, don't be afraid to experiment. The more you use them, the more confident you'll become.
Absolutely. And hey, if you want to keep learning more about English and all its crazy tenses and everything, don't forget to subscribe to this channel.
Yeah, we have tons of awesome content coming up, all about different aspects of English. So hit that subscribe button and stay tuned.
And while you're at it, check out the links in the description for some extra resources and bonus materials, to help you practice everything we've talked about today.
Absolutely. And tell your friends about the show. The more people learning English, the better.
All right, that's it for today. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a fantastic day and keep on practicing that English. We'll see you next time.
See you soon.